When did being a complete fraud accidentally make you legitimate? Teaching your dog to fake conversations with dead pets is surprisingly easy if you have zero morals and a desperate need for college money. My golden retriever Bailey was the dumbest dog in existence until I discovered she could learn hand signals faster than most humans learn basic math. While my classmates struggled with calculus homework, I spent 3 months teaching Bailey to respond to invisible gestures that looked like normal conversation movements. Running my hand through my hair triggered barks, and adjusting my collar caused whimpers, which I could easily pass off as ghostly pet communication. The local animal shelter was drowning in surrendered pets whose owners claimed behavioral issues. So I walked in wearing my most serious expression and approached the exhausted volunteer coordinator behind the desk. "I'm Alex Whispers, certified animal telepathist from the prestigious Institute of Interspecies Communication," I announced boldly, while Bailey sat perfectly at my side. The coordinator looked up with dark circles under her eyes and rubbed her temples. "Look, kid, I don't believe in any of that psychic stuff, but honestly, at this point, I'll try absolutely anything. These animals have been through hell, and we're completely desperate." She led me to my first client, Mrs. Glander, a 70-year-old widow whose deceased cat, Mr. Dandy, apparently had unfinished business, preventing her new kitten from adjusting to the household. She pulled out a crumpled envelope and counted out 10 $20 bills while whispering, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Dandy, but I needed companionship, and I hope you understand." I sat in her living room while Bailey performed her trained responses to my secret signals. When Bailey barked twice after I mentioned Mr. Dandy's favorite sleeping spot, Mrs. Glander burst into tears. "He's telling me he's not angry about the new kitten, isn't he? He just wants me to be happy. Mr. Dandy says he's been watching over you, and he's proud of how you've been taking care of yourself," I replied, running my hand through my hair again to make Bailey whimper softly. As I watched Mrs. Glander's face light up with relief and joy, I realized I was about to either get rich or destroy my entire future. I created an elaborate backstory about studying animal consciousness at a fictional university in Switzerland and printed business cards with holographic borders that cost me $40 but made me look incredibly legitimate. Word about my business spread through the community like wildfire. Apparently half the pet owners in town were desperate to communicate with their animals about everything from separation anxiety to litter box preferences. My phone rang constantly with desperate voices asking for my help. One of my earliest clients was a woman who brought her deceased hamster's cage and insisted that Dr. Hamsterwheel was channeling Shakespeare from beyond. I had to sit there with a straight face, pretending Bailey was translating epic poetry while she barked at my scratching gestures. "To be or not to be, that is the question," I solemnly announced as Bailey woofed twice. Even more bizarre was the elderly man who brought a pet rock, claiming it had been emotionally distant since the move. I spent 45 minutes seriously discussing the rock's trust issues while Bailey performed her routine. My appointment book filled up 3 weeks in advance, and my bank account swelled from $200 to over $15,000 in just 2 months. Everything escalated beyond my wildest expectations when the city's most respected veterinarian attended one of my sessions because her Great Dane had been exhibiting mysterious behavioral changes. I performed my usual routine with Bailey translating the dog's supposed emotional state, but the vet watched with intense fascination. "Alex, I've never seen anything like this," she said afterward, her voice filled with awe. "You've managed to identify behavioral patterns that I completely missed during my examination. Would you be willing to speak at the regional veterinary conference about integrating psychic communication with traditional animal care?" I enthusiastically accepted despite having no idea what I was doing. The conference presentation was terrifying because I stood before 200 legitimate animal experts while my hands shook and sweat dripped down my back. I delivered a completely fabricated lecture about telepathic bonds between humans and pets, using every psychology term I could remember from high school classes mixed with meditation concepts I found online. The audience was completely captivated, but then came the questions that nearly destroyed me. "Dr. Whispers, have you experimented with interspecies dream sharing between cats and their owners?" asked a serious-looking woman in the front row. "What's your success rate with communicating with deceased hamsters?" called out a bearded man from the back. "Can you teach us the hand positioning for channeling the spiritual energy of reptiles?" demanded another attendee. My voice cracked as I improvised answers about astral pet projection and the vibrational frequencies of different animal species, but somehow Bailey's perfectly timed barks and whimpers made everything sound legitimate. 3 months later, I received an acceptance letter from the state's most prestigious veterinary program, along with a full scholarship specifically for my groundbreaking work in pet telepathy.